Have you ever wondered what it would be like to see reality with no filters at all? There's an ancient Buddhist text, the Lotus Sutra, and it makes this incredible promise that if you engage with it deeply enough, you can totally transform your perception. So today, we're going to dive in and explore exactly how it says this is even possible. I mean, really think about this for a second. What if your senses weren't limited? Imagine your eyes, your ears, your whole being, perceiving the universe not just as it seems to us, but as it actually is. It sounds like something out of a comic book, a real superpower, but for the Lotus Sutra, this is a state of being that's totally achievable. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into the sutra's core promise. Then we're going to take a journey through all 6 senses. Yep, sight, sound, scent, taste, the body, and the mind, and see how each one gets purified. And finally, we'll wrap it all up and unpack what this amazing transformation is really all about. Okay, let's dive right in. This whole idea comes from chapter 19 of the Lotus Sutra, which is called The Merits of the Dharma Master, and it lays out a really specific path to this transformation. So the central claim here is pretty wild. The sutra says that if you sincerely engage with its teachings, reading them, reciting them, explaining them to others, it actually triggers a purification of our 6 senses. Oh, and in this tradition, the mind is totally considered the 6th sense. This process grants what the text calls merits. Now, don't think of merits like points in a video game. It's better think of them as symbols for the spiritual clarity and power you gain. This isn't just about getting good karma. The text is promising a fundamental rewiring of how we perceive everything. So this journey starts with the senses that connect us to the outside world most directly, our sight and our hearing. And the way the text describes their enhancement is, well, it's just staggering. So just look at this contrast. Our normal vision, it's blocked by walls, by distance, by darkness. But the purified eye, according to the sutra, sees everything. Literally the entire universe, from the highest heavens down to the deepest, darkest hells. But here's the really important part. It doesn't just see things. It sees the whole web of cause and effect, the karma, that connects every single being and event. It's a huge shift from just seeing what is to truly understanding why it is. And the sutra gets incredibly specific. It actually quantifies this new ability. It says the practitioner gets 800 eye merits. Now, these numbers aren't just random, they're symbolic. They're meant to show us the immense, almost unimaginable power and clarity of this new kind of vision. But then, check this out. For the ear, the number jumps all the way up to 1,200 ear merits. Now, that's a fascinating little detail, right? It suggests that, in this way of thinking, hearing is seen as an even more expansive and profound sense than sight. Maybe that's because it's through hearing the teachings that real understanding truly begins. And this gives you an idea of what that actually means. The purified ear can pick out every single sound in the entire cosmos, all at the same time. The cries of suffering beings, the roar of a lion, the music of the gods, even the voices of Buddhas teaching in other galaxies. You hear it all with perfect clarity. And the sutra makes a special point of saying your physical ear is never overwhelmed or damaged by it. All right, so from these huge external senses, the purification starts to move inward into the more intimate and subtle worlds of smell and taste. The sense of smell is up next, and it gets purified with 800 nose merits. And just like with sight, this sense gains an almost unbelievable power to perceive and tell apart every single scent that exists. This sense becomes this incredible tool for pure understanding. The text says you'd be able to identify not just flowers or incense, but the unique sense of different beings, whether they're human, animal, or divine, and you'd know exactly who and where they are just by their smell. And here we go again. We see that pattern, a big jump up to 1,200 tongue merits. But what's so cool here is that the power actually shifts. It's not just about perceiving the world anymore. It's about actively transforming your experience of it. I mean, this line is just so powerful. The purified tongue has this ability to transform any taste. It doesn't matter how bitter or bland or awful it is, into the most incredible flavor imaginable, which is described as divine nectar. It's a total transformation of the physical experience of just eating. But it doesn't stop with taste. This merit also transforms the tongue's other big job, speech. The practitioner's voice becomes so clear and their words so deep that they can captivate literally any audience. It's almost like
Once you can truly taste reality, you can then explain it perfectly. The sutra says everyone from gods to powerful kings would gather around just to hear this person speak. And now I get to the final two purifications, which really bring everything together. This is where the transformation goes from being about the senses to being about one's entire being, the physical form and consciousness itself. So next, the purification extends to the whole physical body with 800 body merits. And this leads to a complete, radical transformation of the practitioner's very being. The sutra uses this absolutely beautiful metaphor. The body becomes like pure lapis lazuli. It's no longer this opaque, solid thing that blocks our view. Instead, it becomes perfectly clear, like a flawless crystal. And get this, within it, the entire universe is reflected. All beings, all worlds, from the top of the heavens to the bottom of the hells, all of it is visible right there, inside the practitioner's own body. And that brings us to the absolute peak of the mountain, the final and most important purification of them all, the mind, which receives a staggering 1,200 mind merits. So what does a purified mind do? Well, it reaches a state of perfect wisdom. If it hears just one single line of a teaching, it can instantly understand all of its infinite layers of meaning. It could then eloquently explain that one line for months, maybe even a year, without ever running out of things to say. And finally, it gains the clarity to see the thoughts, the intentions, and the feelings of all other beings. Okay, so we have these incredible, almost unbelievable abilities, seeing through walls, hearing celestial music, a body like a crystal. So what is this text really trying to tell us with all this? Well, the ultimate takeaway here isn't really about getting superpowers. It's a deep, poetic metaphor for the state of an enlightened mind. It's describing a consciousness that is no longer trapped by the usual filters we all have. Our ego, our desires, our confusion. Really, what the Lotus Sutra is doing is it's painting a picture of a journey. It's the journey from our normal, kind of foggy, clouded perception of reality to the clear, direct, and unobstructed view of a Buddha. It's about finally seeing things exactly as they are, with total understanding and deep, deep empathy. And so this ancient text leaves us with a really powerful question to chew on. If we just forget this supernatural language for a moment, if this is all about pure perception, what would our world, our lives, and our relationships with each other look like if we could see them through a truly clear lens?